over on the other side of the world. Cliff, if you make it through the whole day of the live stream, all credit to you, especially if you've got work in the morning. Right, we've got a green flag waved at the back of the grid, so very shortly we're going to be underway for what's going to be 15 minutes of racing for the for the Yokohama Ma7da Championship. There you can see the red lights go on, out they go, and the race gets underway. And there we are, the 27 car, actually it's the blue car, isn't it, of Danny Andrew, I beg your pardon, doesn't make the best of starts. It's Ben Powney that sweeps even into the lead of the race in his orange machine. They turn their way through Copse for the first time, and these 20-odd cars in close formation as they head down towards Maggots and Beckett. So it is the orange of Powney, but he runs wide, and Danny Andrew straight away gets the lead back, I think, up the inside of him. Yes, he does. So Danny Andrew gets through. We've seen him out in Sports 1000 as well in recent seasons. There's the number 99 car. It's Martin Sheldon, the sort of grey car with the pink roll cage, but it's Danny Andrew leading, Ben Powney second, and it's the 56 car of Daniel Sibbons that's moved into third position, Matt.
Yep, certainly has. Very, very close as they head off the back straight for the first time, but no incidents on the first half of the lap. But it's those synonymous colours in second place. Ben Powney runs this colour livery for most of the seasons, but Ben is now going to draw himself alongside Danny Andrew. So it's side by side. First bit of ultra close slipstreaming of the race, and in fact we're going to have more further back who are going to try and get into this battle as well. Almost four wide down towards Copse Corner, and it looks like Jonathan Listeter is going to get himself up into second place, just ahead of number 56, which is Daniel Sibbons.
Yeah, so they're all fanning out along the straight, the short straight between Copse and Maggots. Looks like Danny Andrews got himself a useful lead here by Mazda 7 standards over the green car now that's up into second place, and that is Jonathan Listeter. So he has gone from fourth of the line to second already as they head up the Wellington Straight for the second time. And Jonathan won a couple of races last year, but he's under threat here from Ben Powney, the orange car on the inside line for Brooklands, and Powney goes back through. The fourth car is number 35, David Winter. He's also made up a couple of places on this lap. The one that's gone backwards a little bit is Daniel Sibbons, back to about sixth place.
Yeah, and what these three or four cars don't want to do is start battling too hard to allow Danny Andrew get away, which isn't quite happening at the minute. He's extended his gap out front slightly this time through, but Danny Andrew is still the race leader. Second place for Ben Powney. Third place across the line is going to be the number 71 car, I believe, as they come into Copse Corner. Yep, Jonathan Listeter. Then we see the number 43 car of David Mason, and just behind them, again, there's a couple more to come through in the shape of Daniel Sibbons and Martin Shelton, but the gap of the line under 3/10, it comes down to even further in towards the right-hander, and now we've got a train of 6 cars all heading onto the back straight.
But we do unfortunately have a retirement. That's on the exit of Copse, isn't it? One of the TSR cars, I'm afraid, has come to a halt. Now, Danny Andrew did build up a bit of a lead, but that's been eroded really, and we've got a train of, it's 6 cars in this leading group, isn't it? And then there's a bit of a gap back to Martin Sheldon in 7th place, but as we always say in low-cost racing, it becomes quite strategic, especially on a circuit that lends itself to slipstreaming such as this. You want to make sure your car is in the right position going on to the last lap. You don't necessarily want to be leading the race down into Brooklands, for example, for the final time. David Mason using quite a bit of curb there on the inside at Woodcote Corner. He remains in third position, side by side with Jonathan Lister. Only 200 separated them at the line. A little more than that now as they head through Copse Corner and down towards the left-hander. See the deserted banks here at Silverstone. No spectators, of course, here this weekend. Motorsport, as indeed all sport, still being run behind closed doors, other than for some pilot events. Side by side here for second place briefly. That was Ben Powney and David Mason, but it's Jonathan Listeter, actually, I beg your pardon, that seems to have emerged in front.
Yes, he has, and down the inside there looks to go number 56, which is Daniel Sibbons. So he briefly goes into third place. Will that stick on the outside of Luffield? No, he then gets muscled into the middle, because also to join in now is number 43, which is David Mason. Almost runs out wide, but he'll be at the back of this train now as they run side by side for what's going to be third place and also for pretty much fifth place across the line. But the magic rule, as you said, Ian, is in this sort of racing, you do not want to be leading on that last lap. They know it very well. Let's see if they adhere to it in around about 10 minutes' time.
Yeah, half a second the lead front Danny Andrew at the moment, but there's a second of a gap back from Lister to Daniel Sibbons. We've not had a race on this configuration for the Ma7s before, so whoever gets the fastest lap here is going to get a new lap record. At the moment, that looks like it's going to go the way of David Mason, actually, a 106.88 in qualifying. Danny Andrew did a 106.49, so we've not quite gone down to those times just yet. Increasingly, it looks like the first two, Danny Andrew and Jonathan Lister, are making a bit of a break. Daniel Sibbons there in third, Mason fourth, Powney, after that strong start to the race, back in fifth position, and David Winter at number 35, the 55-year-old property developer from Cambridge. He's in sixth position. He's been racing for 6 seasons in low cost initially, then he was the Class B champion in Sports Specials. He's had podiums in Ma7da 7 previously as well. That's David Winter at the back of the group there, the white car you can see, number 35. He's in sixth position at the end of lap 5.
Side by side for the lead, and in fact a change of lead that time round, because Jonathan Lister now heads this field in the Yokohama Ma7da Championship, but can he hold it on the run down towards Maggots and Beckett's? Let's have a look as the fight for third place intensifies as well, and that in fact gets a little bit closer to the top two. So just as we said that the top two had broke away, scrap that, because we've now got almost 5-6 you could just about say together, because David Winter is just about hanging on to the coattails of that of Ben Powney, but here comes the weaving now. He's trying to break that chain, and it's going to be Jonathan Lister who's trying to do that for the first time in this race.
Taking them to the left, Ben Powney in the fifth position. I know that he had some issues with testing the other day. Some serious work needed on the engine to get the car ready again for this weekend's racing, but it seems to be holding up reasonably well so far, and it's still well placed here in fifth position in this lead group, in the mix for a possible race win. Good battle going on further back, you can see as well, for 7th and 8th between Simon Court and Martin Fowley, but up in front it's Danny Andrew that's got the lead back again. And so here we go, this is this jousting that we're talking about, swapping the lead, positioning your car just right as we go into the final stage of the race, but there's still more than half of it to go.
Yeah, and don't be surprised if these 6 positions change on every single lap, because that's what low-cost racing is all about, and that's what's going to become of the Ma7da Championship as well. So it's very, very close between the top 6. Still, I think when they left us, yeah, Danny Andrew was the race leader, but that could change on the run down towards Brooklands, because Jonathan Lister pulls alongside. Has he got enough to get through? He probably has, but he probably doesn't want to, does he? He wants to stay there in second place and just watch the traits of Danny Andrew to see how that car handles, how it turns, and as long as he stays there or thereabouts, he'll be happy with that. So first and second coming back towards us. There's the fight for 10th place, which is number 99. That's Martin Shelton, and he's trying to keep behind the number 63 car in 11th place of James Milburn.
Yep, James, who was a jockey, now a horse racing pundit. And he is going pretty well in the midfield. He'd have liked to have been further up the order with James. He's been up towards the sharp end in the past, certainly. Just looking back, he didn't do too many. Well, he did a few races last season, but it was around 6th or 7th most of the time. So heading down into the left-hander at Maggots. This is the second group, if you like. And it's headed, I think, at the moment by the 24 car, so that is Martin Fowley then, who was a Class B Sports Specials champion in 2017. He did MR2 racing before that, but back with the leaders though, and it's Daniel Sibbons, number 56, on the inside of Danny Andrew there for Brooklands, but Andrew's on the inside for Luffield. Pound is trying to get through as well in the 37 car, the landscaper from Hythe, and it's almost going to be 3 wide as they come towards Woodcote with 6 minutes of the race to go.
Yeah, almost 3. Are they going to do that as they come across the line? I think Jonathan Lister's going to try and get to the inside line. Danny Andrews gone back to the head. So just as we thought it was going to be David Mason or the number 56 car of Daniel Sibbons to lead, they've now found themselves back in about 4th or 5th place. But it's Danny Andrew who goes back to the head. Ben Powney, who we thought may be down and out a few laps ago, he's now up in there to 2nd place. Make that 3rd because Jonathan Lister is back through on the inside line. And for 4th and 5th, it's side by side as well. That was Daniel Sibbons, just trying to keep, by the looks of it, David Winter at bay. But you could almost say there's nearly 2 groups of 3 forming, but let's see if they can keep themselves together as they head down the Wellington Straight.
Best lap of the race now is to Lister, 106.81, so he's got the lap record. He's almost got the lead as well as he overlaps with 27 Danny Andrew there, and Andrew just made a bit of a mistake really because Lister was able to go past between Brooklands and Luffield there as Andrew wrestled for control, and that might just sap his momentum a little bit. As Powney tried to capitalise on that, but Andrew's got plenty of momentum now as he comes off Woodcote Corner, gets alongside race leader Jonathan Lister as they come over the line with less than 5 minutes to go. And which car turns in first to Copse? It's Danny Andrew, 27, back in the lead.
Yeah, there's no real point really talking about the gaps, is there? Because all we need to say is it's close, because the top 6 covered that time by less than a second. So, as we said, if you wanted ultra close slipstream in action, this is what you've got from the Yokohama Ma7da Championship, the first round of the 2021 season. And for now, Danny Andrew is the man who leads the way. 2nd place for Jonathan Lister. Ben Powney now falling into the clutches of the car behind, which is Daniel Sibbons. And then 5th and 6th still there, David Mason and David Winter. Here comes Lister again for the inside, but again he doesn't really want it. He stays there in 2nd place, and he'll just watch to see what Danny can do as they head towards the end of this lap with now just under 4 minutes remaining.
So Lister, who had 2 fantastic wins at the end of the 2019 season at Silverstone in low cost, in horrible conditions, very different conditions to what we have here. He's a 40-year-old based in Essex these days, works in the construction industry. This car that he races was built in 2019 by Richard Bradley, converted into Ma7da 7 spec by TSR in 2020. He's done lots of karting in the past as well, has Jonathan. Here they come down towards Maggots, left-hander, and then the right-hander of Beckett's. Just a bit of a gap opening up between the top 2 and Daniel Sibbons in 3rd place. And Daniel, by the way, was 6th over the line, but he's got up to 3rd place. He's just ahead of 35 David Winter, then it's Powney, and then it's David Mason in the 2nd of the green cars at the back of the field. Lister trying to break the toe from Andrew as they come down to Brooklands again.
Yep, certainly do. Danny Andrew in 2nd. Am I right in thinking, Ian, this is the first time he's raced in Ma7da's championship?
Well, I think he may have done 1 or 2 races in the past, but he did a few last season actually. He didn't particularly get the strongest results, Danny Andrew, but he's done Sports 1000 as well regularly over the past couple of years since he raced in low cost and won the championship there.
Yeah, he's done a lot with 750 Motor Club, hasn't he? So this is another string to his bow potentially, as he now tries to get the lead away from Jonathan Lister. As they went across the line, the gap was less than half a second, so nothing to choose between the top 2. But again, it's going back to that part of the race that we had at the start where the top 2 had broken away. They're almost doing it now as they work their way into some traffic. That's Thomas Bates who they try and work their way through, which they've done. So number 69 stepping aside nicely there. But yeah, I think the top 2 may have just got enough here over the number 56 car of Daniel Sibbons, because the rest behind are now starting to fight and let the top 2 get away.
Yeah, that was the Thomas Bates car. We've had 1 stop as well during the course of this race. That's the 38 car of James Lewis Barnes, so he out of the race. But turning our attention back to this, that's the sort of, I was going to say secondary group, but they are basically with Danny Andrew again, aren't they? Who's in 2nd position, and as the camera pans around, yep, there is Jonathan Lister, and he's got 2 laps to go now, and he's got, I was going to say, a halfway useful lead, but in low cost, or Ma7da 7's all low cost for that matter, Danny Andrew is close enough to pick up the toe there, I suspect, and he'll soon be back on the coattails of Jonathan Lister, to be right with him, and actually probably in prime position to go on to the last lap, Matt.
Yeah, and effectively with the help from behind as well, he could even close that gap further. So with the help of Ben Powney, Daniel Sibbons, David Winter and David Mason, he's going to be back with them. In fact, he's doing it on his own. So Danny Andrew round the outside tries to go on Jonathan Lister, but nothing happening that time. But he does bring that gap down from what was 6/10 at the line. It's now down probably to about 2/10 as they head onto the Wellington Straight once again. But let's see what Danny can do. He pulls out of the slipstream, but here comes that big statement we made. You do not want to be leading on the last lap, so they almost come to a standstill as they try and back off and let the other lead after you, Claude. But with 35 seconds left on the clock, we are about to go on to the last lap. But who's going to be the winner? We'll find out in about 1.6 miles time.
Absolutely so. Is Lister then in the 71 car that's got it all to do, really? That's because he's in the lead. Last lap board does indeed go out now, so it's going to be a 14-lap race. Can he keep this gaggle of 5 other cars behind him? On straight away, Danny Andrews gone through. That's not necessarily a disaster because they've still got the next long straight to come at the Wellington Straight. And if List can be behind Danny there, use the toe and possibly get through on the way into Brooklands, that would help, or that would work potentially. But yeah, it is still 6 cars together, Matt.
Yeah, you probably need to look towards the back. David Winter, he could possibly win this race as he comes onto the Wellington Straight side by side for the lead. Have they got enough in hand over Ben Powney in 3rd place? Probably not, because he's now going to pick up the toe from Jonathan Lister. He goes to the outside. Danny Andrew goes to the inside. You've got Daniel Sibbons in the mix as well, who comes through into 3rd place. And Danny Andrew now has got 1, potentially 2 corners to try and hold on. And here comes Sibbons to the outside line. Bit of bump in there on the back of Jonathan Lister to try and get him a move on, and Ben Powney I think could be off the podium, although Daniel Sibbons runs wide, and Andrew to the flag.
Yeah, Andrew is going to hang on, I think, but Ben Powney and Jonathan Lister made it 3 wide there. The result on our screen is Danny Andrew gets it by 5/100ths of a second.
Well, thank you very much, Ian. Danny Andrew, what a race that was. You can breathe now, I suspect, after that one. 6 cars all the way through that race. It was anyone's game, really, but you came out at the end with a great overtake around the outside of Copse Corner on the last lap to pinch that one. Well done.
Yeah, I think we had quite a bit of speed over the others. They had a lot more traction off the corners, which cost me on the 2 big toes. But I think if I could have just had a couple of laps, we'd have pulled away a little bit. But that was a good race, some ambitious defending under brakes and all sorts going on, which wasn't nice. But no, overall it was a good race.
Well, watching the race, of course, down the Wellington Straight, yourself and Jonathan Lister were weaving, I say, all over the circuit, trying to break the toe, of course, down the straight. But with these cars, slipstream is key, really, isn't it?
100%, yeah. I think we proved that in qualifying. Yeah, the weaving down the straight isn't a problem. It's weaving under brakes what's a bit naughty. But no, at the end of the day, we got the result. So it was a good one, and it's nice. That's for my dad. He lost a good friend of his this week, so that's for him.
Perfect stuff. Well, a great result for the first race for the Ma7das, and we'll hopefully see you again at the end of race 2.
Hopefully stood your steer again.
Hopefully so. Excellent stuff.